Hey guys, Amy here. Welcome back to our channel. So this is the second video from my new series called Magical Memorabilia, where I travel back in time a little ways and share with you guys the pictures, memories, and memorabilia that I still have from our trips from when I was a kid. And in the first video, I focused on 1982 and 1983. Those were the first years that my family ever went to Walt Disney World. Now in this video, we're going to fast forward a few years to 89, 90, and 91. Those were the years that we went to Walt Disney World next. So let's kick back, relax, and dive into some Disney history. So July of 1989 was the next time that we visited Walt Disney World, and back then MGM Studios had just opened. It opened on May 1st, 1989, and we were there only a couple of months later, so it was brand spanking new, and it really was a highlight of our trip. Back when MGM Studios opened, you only had a handful of attractions really. You had the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, you had the Great Movie Ride, you had the backstage studio tour, and a couple of other walking tours that kind of gave you a behind-the-scenes look at how movies were made. So let me take you through a little guided tour here of the old MGM Studios. Here's the entrance, and then they had this big archway that you walked through. And here is 11-year-old me getting ready to walk through said archway. And the park icon, it was the Eiffel Tower back then. And we'll go through some of the rides here that I mentioned. Here's the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, still the same today as it was then. Great Movie Rides, sadly it is no more. And there was the Backlot Studio Tour where you got to meet Herbie the Love Bug, as well as take a ride through Catastrophe Canyon. That was always fun, where that caught on fire and then all the water rushed down over you. And then there were the Streets of America, which back in the early days of MGM Studios was considered a live set and you weren't even allowed to walk on it back then. And we can't forget Roger Rabbit, who played a huge role for MGM Studios in the early days, as well as Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. This was part of a tour where they would recreate the scene where he was flying on the back of the bee. And then there was Auntie! Loved Auntie in the movie. So that about does it for the highlights of our 89 trip. I remember when I was a kid being so excited that there was a brand new Disney park and we were going to get to go just a couple months after it opened. It was going to be so much fun and so exciting. And then when we got there, it's not that it wasn't fun, but it was just there was so little open. I remember thinking, this is a Disney park and this is all that there is. But it's been pretty cool to watch it grow over the years and exciting to see the new changes that are coming to it in the upcoming months and years with Toy Story Land and Star Wars Land, so I'm looking forward to that. So the next trip was the following year in July of 1990, and there was something new at the parks then as well. The Wonders of Life Pavilion at Epcot had just opened. It opened in October of 89, so we were there July of 90, so it was a little under a year old. And unfortunately, this is the only picture that I have of it for some reason. But what I really wanted to focus on in this portion of the video is the fact that we stayed at my all-time favorite resort, Polynesian. So this is a postcard that I found that my mom actually sent my grandmother when we were staying there. And I just thought it was funny because at the very end of it she says, "Tomorrow is Epcot Center and Wednesday is Disney World Park," which in the early days meant Magic Kingdom because that was the only park, but I just thought it was funny that she referred to Magic Kingdom as Disney World Park. There's some people that do that today still, as a matter of fact. But moving on, let me take you on a little tour of the Polynesian. This was a view from our room. And back then you could not only swim in that lake, but you could also go windsurfing. And my favorite pastime, which you'll see here, I have several pictures. We used to take these boats out all the time. It's something that we still do to this day. And it has always been one of my favorite things. That was actually the first time I was able to drive there with my dad. And here's me going out solo when I was old enough. Always loved the pool here too. It's been redone since then, but I always had a lot of fun swimming here. Something also worth mentioning was that the Grand Floridian was still pretty new back in these days. It opened in June of '88, so that was pretty cool to check out for the first time when we went in '89. Thus ends our stroll down memory lane at the Polynesian, but I did happen to find some memorabilia items from that trip. This here is the old style of toiletry boxes that they used to have. This one is a shower cap. You got Mickey on the back. And, like I said, the Grand Floridian was pretty new back in those days. So this is just a little something that I picked up when we visited there that year. It is a foam frisbee. Here, catch. So moving on to the last portion of this video, I have some items I want to share with you guys from our June of 1991 trip. And that trip we actually did a split stay. We did one night at the Contemporary Resort. You can see it was June 23rd, 1991 when we were there in room C8229. It wasn't in the main part of the building. They had little buildings off to the side and we were in one of those, but still pretty cool. Just come out of your room, walk up the little walkway, catch the monorail if you wanted to inside. Here is the front of the card. This was back before they had the plastic room keys still that would let you into your room. So just basically a card proving that you were staying at a Disney resort if you had to show it for whatever reason. And then for the rest of our stay, we stayed here at the Village Resort, which if you watched my first video in this series, you saw that we stayed there in 82 and 83. The first year in a treehouse, the second year in the townhomes that were there, and then this year we did the townhomes again. And I did find a couple more toiletries from back in the day. I'm not sure if these are from that trip exactly, but they are the older style, so I just wanted to share them with you guys. Still has a bar of soap in here actually. This is what it is on the back. This one says travel kit. And I did actually find our park ticket from that trip, and it was called a Super Pass, which I actually had to look up what this was because it doesn't say on here how many days it was good for. And here's some information off of Alt Ears website. It does say it was a 4-day Super Pass. But it does say on the back here that it's good for entry into all 3 theme parks, as well as Pleasure Island, which was pretty new back then, as well as Typhoon Lagoon, which was new, and they still had River Country and Discovery Island, if you remember those from back in the day. Discovery Island was pretty much like it is at Animal Kingdom, only it was literally an island. You would travel on a boat out in the middle of Bay Lake and go to Discovery Island to see all the animals. It's pretty cool. And during that year, they were also celebrating 20 years of the Magic Kingdom being open, which all I really have from that is this postcard. For whatever reason, I don't have any actual pictures from the parks of what they did special during that year. But it does say on the back of this that October 1st, 1991 marks the 20th anniversary of Walt Disney World, and Mickey and his pals can think of no better way to start the celebration than with a musical salute in front of Cinderella Castle. So that wraps up the second video in my Magical Memorabilia series. Let me know in the comments below if you guys went during these years and what you remember most about them. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any of the fun. I will have another entry in this series again next Thursday. As always, I thank you all for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a magical rest of your day. And remember, life is better with Disney. Peace.